done. Now we are left with some theory topics, which we'll do now. Just a second. I don't know. Diaz is joining or not. Diaz is joining. Okay, I will take one topic called computing services. Just a second. The series also not joined today, right? Yes. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, so let's say this. Can everybody see my screen? Hmm? Yes, screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes, Manoj.
Great. So we talk about Azure Compute Services now. Let's see what are the compute services available in Azure. So we are talking about these. These are the various compute services available. Yes. So what are the compute services available? One is Azure Virtual Machines. The second is Azure App Service. Third is Azure Container Instances, then Azure Kubernetes Service, Azure Function, Virtual Windows Virtual Desktop. So Azure Virtual Machines you have already worked with, right? Hello.
Yes. Yeah.
Then now this virtual machines, what is the use case for this? You know that IaaS. IaaS is what? Yes, Ritik.
Infrastructure as a service.
Infrastructure as a service. Okay, IaaS is infrastructure as a service. Hmm. So it enables lift and shift. It enables lift and shift. Means what? What is lift and shift?
I think it could mean that we can reduce the virtual machines or add virtual machines whenever required,
No,
and
no.
depending
Lift
upon
and
the
shift means
requirement of.
supposing
Mm.
you have an office and you want to go to cloud. Okay. You have a
Okay.
infrastructure which is there in the office. Now you want to go onto the cloud. It's like changing rooms. You want to go from one apartment to another apartment. What do you do?
Yeah,
You lift
lift and
your
shift. Yeah.
baggage,
Mhm.
right?
Correct.
And you shift,
Mhm.
right? So lift and shift
Correct.
is in that particular sense. So when you
Got
say
it.
lift and shift, basically it does that. Okay. So this is the easiest way to go to cloud because if you use other service like platform as a service, software as a service, then you need to do a lot of work. A lot of things are required for that. Hmm. Right?
Yes. Got it.
Then we can also have virtual machine scale set. So we have already seen what is virtual machine scale set, right? So auto scale out and auto scale in the VMs depending on the workload. So automatically it will scale in and scale out. Hmm. Right? Then you have Azure Batch. Azure Batch is it enables parallel processing and high performance computing. Supercomputer like power. It has ability to scale to tens, hundreds, or thousands of VMs. Power to do Powered up to do parallel processing. So you all have heard of supercomputer, right? Arfat, have you heard of supercomputer?
Yes, sir.
So how supercomputer works? It works on parallel processing. What do you mean by parallel processing? Any idea? Anyone? What is parallel processing? Yeah. What is parallel processing? Anyone knows?
To execute multiple processes at the same time.
Parallel processing, yes, like multiple processors are there. Each processor will do one particular task. It's like distributing the workload amongst team members. Okay, that is parallel processing. So Azure Batch, with Azure Batch, you can get thousands of processors working together. It will give you super computer like power. Hmm? So that's what saying. It has ability to scale tens, hundreds or thousands of VMs powered up to do parallel processing. So parallel processing is that basically. Okay. It's like uh, it's like marriage work. Marriage work, how do you do? You distribute the work, right? You take meeting, you distribute the work, like this guy will do this guy will do this. And then after some time, again they come back and again they join. So it's called fork and join. Fork means distribute the work. Join means again come back, exchange the results, and again fork. Fork join, like that you do. So that is the way the supercomputers are built. It consists of multiple processors and they can crunch a lot of data. They can do processing very powerfully like this because of so many processors there working together. Is this clear now? So we have a, when you talk about virtual machines, you can have a normal virtual machine or you can have virtual machine scale set, which will scale out and scale in depending on the workload. And then you have Azure batch. In that, what happens is like it will, uh, it has the ability to work like a supercomputer because multiple processors can do the job. Okay, clear everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Then these types of services already we have seen. There are three types: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So can you quickly, yes, who will tell me software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service? What is the difference between them?
I
Yes.
mean, hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please come on, respond.
So Manoj, if we talk about infrastructure as a services, let's say if we take the Azure cloud environment as an example, so the entire cloud infrastructure is already there. So it's giving you that overall infrastructure that you can use, where you can then add resource groups, you can add virtual machines, you can scale them according to the requirement. So that's where we are only using that infrastructure.
No, infrastructure as a service means that if you remember, I had given you an example of cricket. You know, if you just get cricket ground, so the infrastructure is provided to you. Everything you have to build, the pitch you have to build, the umpires you have to get, the tickets you have to
Yeah,
sell,
correct.
everything you
Correct.
have to do yourself. That is infrastructure as a service.
Mhm. Correct.
Platform as a service is like, okay, the wicket is built up, but then you have to umpiring, you have to get the commentators, you have to get the tickets, you have to sell. Okay,
Mhm. Correct.
and software as a service means everything is ready. You just go and play. It's like that. Got it? So these are three
Yeah,
types of
correct.
services which cloud offers to you. Okay, like now you guys know about the web servers and web service infrastructure services like you do everything on your own. Like you install the OS, then you install the IIS, and then you launch the application. That is infrastructure as a service. But platform as a service means the web server is already ready for you. Just have to launch the application. You have to put your application on that and it will start. And software
Yeah,
as a
correct.
service means even the application is given by the cloud provider. You're just the end user. Okay.
Yeah, I just have to log in. Correct.
So these are three types of services which we get, right? So today, most of the people are absent. I think Ibrahim is not there. Who is not there? Yes. Yeah.
Manoj, can you zoom in on that image? Just wanted to take a screenshot. So
Yeah.
just zoom in a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. You
Yes.
get it?
Yes, just capturing it now. Got it, Manoj. Thank you.
Then
Yes.
then use case of VMs. Why we need VMs? The virtual machines can be used during testing and development. So if you want to just test some application, so you can what you can do is you can take VM on rent, you can test it and then you can destroy it. Okay. For development also, once the development is done, we don't need the VM, so we can destroy it. Otherwise, the physical system you have to buy and you have to uh, use it till and I mean you have to invest money for the whole system. Here, just take it on rent. You use it and Once the job is done, you can return it back, right? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then running applications on the cloud. Running application in the cloud means what? Like if you want to run, the advantage of
So if we take example of the applications that we use in the office, or
yeah.
the
So
application that Allscripts provides to all the US hospitals, the
yes,
users can run those applications on the cloud just by
yes,
logging in.
yeah. You can run it remotely.
Correct. Yeah.
Running on the cloud means remotely you can run the applications. Hmm?
Yes. So
That,
it's not
yeah.
mandatory that you need to have it on the computer or the local computer.
Hmm. So that is the benefit, correct? Then extending your data center to cloud. Now, extending your data center to cloud means what? So most of the companies they have data center on premises, right? Every big company has built the data center on premises before, right? But you will see that they are no longer purchasing new servers now, right? New hardware. Have you seen recently anybody
Yes.
in your company, any new server coming to your office?
In
You will
fact,
not see it. Hmm?
yeah, in fact, most of them are switching to cloud, like you had mentioned a few lectures ago.
So they will take the new infrastructure on cloud only. They're taking the new infrastructure on the cloud. So they are no longer bringing the actual hardware. So that is called extending. So, but they're connecting the on-premises network to the cloud network. Both are getting connected. Okay.
Yes, got it.
Yes.
And during data disaster recovery, we can set up an identical environment in the cloud and keep it shut. During the disaster, we can bring it up. What is disaster recovery? When you talk about disaster recovery, means what actually means?
It
Cyber
could
attack.
be.
Yeah,
So for example, we were talking about the other day. We were talking about the an entire data center breaking down or any power failure. So you might lose a lot of uh, data in that particular situation. So
hmm.
this is here. I mean, this in this particular case, you can actually manage such a situation a little bit better, where you can set up an identical environment in the cloud.
Yes. So we can set up identical environment in the cloud and keep it shut. During the disaster, we can bring it up. So always there is a chance that your data center may fail and your application may go down. So we don't want our application to go down for any reason. Okay. So what do
Correct.
we do in this case?
By the way, Manoj, is this point talking? I mean, identical to what we were discussing when we discussed the geo redundancy point? Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I remember we were saying apart from the one, apart from the
That is,
I
yeah,
mean,
that is for storage, but this is for the
sorry.
entire infrastructure, even the virtual machines.
Mhm. In the virtual machines, okay.
For virtual machines, then what will happen, right? So for virtual machines, it is going to be a, you have to buy it, right? You have to make the networking, you have to make the virtual network, you have to make the entire system, right? All
System, correct.
applications
Yeah.
need to be installed and all that thing, correct?
Yes.
So in that case, you'll have to you don't want the downtime to happen. What you'll do, you'll create an identical infrastructure, but you'll keep those virtual machine down so that you don't incur cost. And when supposing
Correct.
your disaster happens, you can just start those virtual machines and you have an identical setup on which you can
Okay.
fall back. Getting
Got it. Yeah.
clear now?
Yes, got it.
So it is like a simple disaster recovery solution. A simple disaster recovery solution. Okay.
Yes, Manoj, got it.
Then you have Azure App Service. Azure App Service is platform as a service solution from Azure. Platform as a service. It's for the developers actually. They want to set up the applications. So for developers, we have this Azure App Service for the developers. It includes
So,
web apps, API apps, web jobs, mobile apps. Yes.
so Manoj, is that where they will actually code the application or test the application?
They will launch the application like web apps. Like for example, we have a in Azure App Service, we can have a web app. So when you have web app, so we don't need to install IIS. We don't have to do maintenance of servers, updates, patches. So just have to
Yeah.
launch the application.
Correct.
That's it. Okay. So
Yes, got it.
it becomes easier for you. Develop web apps in ASP.NET, Java, Python, Node.js, anything of choice, any language of your choice. You can use it to develop the app. You can choose
Got it.
Windows or
Yes.
Linux operating system. This is also important because if it is Windows or Linux, if it is Linux, then it will cost you less. If it is Windows, it is going to cost you more. Okay. Getting?
Yes.
So that is the thing. Then API apps. What does API stand for? What is the full form of API? Yes,
application programming.
application programming interface. In simple words, what is API actually? Very simple words. What is API? Yes, anyone? I have explained this before, right? Ritik, Ritik, are you there? I can't hear you. Ritik, is he there in the meeting? Ritik, can you hear me?
I think
On the call.
he's for left a message on the group that he's on the call, but he'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so yeah, who will tell me what is actually API? Just a second.
To send and receive.
So Manoj, we had discussed that API basically has a lot of, I mean, it's a set of rules, protocols through which, uh, any application, it exchanges data. So, so there are a lot of protocols and rules involved in it.
Yes. So API is application program interface like ready-made libraries. API is nothing but ready-made libraries developed by cloud, or this is developed by the programmers. The API is like ready-made libraries, which is developed by the programmers and which can be called, it says REST-based API. REST-based API means what? REST is like one protocol by which you can access this application APIs using web URL. Getting Harsh?
Yes.
Yes.
So you can access them using web URL. So that is the beauty of this REST API and can be consumed by HTTP or HTTPS client. So if any HTTP or HTTPS client want to get some service, they can just put the URL and using the URL, they can access these APIs. So that is the benefit of this API app.
Got it.
So mostly nowadays people make API apps only using REST-based. They make REST-based API apps so that it can be consumed very easily because people, how to use the web URL, right? So using that only you will access all the facilities. Okay. Then we have something called as web jobs. So it is a program which is run in the background of the web application. It performs a particular task. So web jobs is nothing but a program which is run in the background of the web application, performs a particular task. Then mobile apps. You can also make mobile apps. Allows to build iOS and Android mobile apps. Store mobile data on the SQL database. Authentication against Google, Twitter, Facebook. Send push notifications. So for mobile app developers also, this is a platform as a service. Basically, they are saying that. Okay, Arafat, are you there? Ritik, are you back?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Ritik, say it loudly.
Yes, sir.
Ritik, after the class, you give me a call. Okay, I want to speak to you. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Now, Azure Container Instances or Azure Kubernetes Services. So this is, you have to understand what is a container. Anybody knows what is a container? Virtual machine, you know, but what is a container? Anyone?
In which all the information is stored.
Hmm?
A container is like a storage of.
No,
It's like a storage.
no, no,
जिसमें सारे users and सारे micro services on उसके अंदर रहते हैं.
no, no, not really. Okay, to understand container, so this is a very important concept nowadays. What is a container? We go here, look at this picture. So you see this picture here. This is a host with VMs. These are VMs. Virtual machine, you know, you have created virtual machine. So it has operating system and application. Both the things are integrated in the virtual machine. Okay. So every virtual machine has got its own independent application. So VM1, VM2, VM3, all of these, they have independent applications, right? Okay. Okay. So virtual machine has got a operating system app integrated in the same over there, right? But what happens is if you want to restart the virtual machine, it takes time because it is operating system and then application will start. But when you talk about container, container is like this. It contains only application information. Everything related to application will be there in the container. So you can see this container has the application. Okay. Hello.
Yes.
So it has only application part. It doesn't have OS. So it will be it is the operating system it is using the host. This is the host operating system. It's sharing the host operating system. But what it has only containers. which has only application part, doesn't have the OS part. So it is going to be lightweight. Lightweight in the sense it will not require too much of processing. Getting? So this is a new way of deploying applications nowadays. Instead of deploying to a virtual machine, they deploy to container. Getting? So container management is easier. This is clear to everyone? Hello?
Yes.
So, Manoj, just to differentiate, instead of using it on the virtual machine, the container itself has the application.
Hmm. Yes, correct. And it is using the operating system of the host. It uses the
Okay, got
operating
it.
system of the host actually. Okay,
Of the host. Okay.
clear now?
So in terms of virtual machine, it actually uses the operating system which is in the Azure environment. I mean, which is inside the virtual machine or which is inside the Azure environment.
I didn't get your question. What is the question?
So when we say it uses the operating system of the host, I mean, in terms of the
Hmm.
container, it is the
Hmm.
same in terms of virtual machine also, right? Or it's using some other operating system.
No, it has a separate operating system. Like actually, virtualization means what? You have a physical system. Like this is in
Correct.
simplest form. You have a very powerful system. Let's say you buy a computer with 16 cores. Okay, the processor has 16 cores
16, yeah. Correct.
and it has got say 128 GB RAM. Hmm?
Yes.
So it is only single physical system, right? But you
Yes.
can convert into a virtual system, many virtual machines by virtualization. Maybe you can create, you know, three systems, one system with 6 cores, one system with 5 cores, another system with five cores, like that. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
and also the memory it can distribute. To one machine, you can give 28 GB, other you give 50 GB, other you give 50 GB, like that. So that is
Yes.
what
Correct.
virtual machine means, right?
Yeah.
So actual physical hardware is powerful, and on that virtual
Where
machines are like logical things, right?
correct.
So out of one physical system, you're making three virtual machines here.
Three words. And we are distributing the memory to, I mean, amongst those three
The
virtual
processor
machines.
and memory.
The processor's memory.
Processor and
Okay.
memory is distributed to each of these. That is
Okay.
cloud. You know, cloud means that.
Got it. And is it the same in terms of the container system, or there we don't have to do all this because we are using the
In
container?
container system, it's same, but only thing is we don't have to put the operating system in the virtual machine. The
Okay.
operating
Got it.
system part is using this host ka operating system.
Okay. Okay, got it. I think that explains what I was trying to understand. So in terms of the virtual machine system, we are actually distributing the operating system also amongst the three virtual machines. But in terms
Correct.
of the container, we don't have to do that separately.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
Okay.
That is
Good.
how it works. Okay, Arafat, getting Arafat? Arafat, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. How are you, dear?
Yeah, I'm
Good,
doing
sir.
Arfat's graveyard shift this month.
It's a graveyard shift again.
No, I'm doing his graveyard shift this month.
Acha, okay, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're doing F?
Yes, this month. I mean, for the remainder of February. So yesterday was the first day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the best.
Yes, thank you.
But I hope you will not become like Arafat. Hmm?
Actually, I was extremely sleepy when we started the class, but I mean, so I tried to, focus more on the class so that way I was uh, I was wide awake after a few minutes. That helped actually.
For Arfat, I would just say that somehow something is taken over him.
Manoj, I think you had shown a slide, the one before this host and container slide. I think it was
What?
nine.
Sorry.
There was a slide which we were showing earlier that was before the host and container slide.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, 94. Yeah, number 94.
Yeah. So I thought first I'll explain you what is container. So I think you understood what is container, right?
Yeah, I'll just take a screenshot of this one.
So
Just a
container
sec.
is a virtualized environment. We don't have to manage the operating system. It can start and stop quickly. That is the benefit of it, right? The benefit of container is that we don't have to start and stop quickly. So one of the most popular container engines is Docker. So Docker is the most popular container engines. Yeah. So this is a very popular technology nowadays. If Niaz would have been there, he would have been very happy to know. I mean, to discuss all these things, right? So he's using all these things in his company. So to manage the Docker and Microsoft-based container in Azure, you have Azure Container Instance and you have Azure Kubernetes Service. So we have two types of. So containers have to be managed in the sense managing means what? They require some image. You will create an image of the for the application and you store it somewhere. So if you want that application, then from the registry, it is going to take that image and it will put in that container and it will start working. It's something like that. And it's a very beautiful system. It's like if you come to our office, we have say 4 rooms we are having in our office. Okay. Let's say if one room is occupied or over busy, we send people to another room. Okay. Something like that. Getting my point? So these containers are also created on the fly. Virtually they're created. You just give specification that I want a container with, we'll see more of that, but I'm just giving you a very broad overview. Say you say that I want a container with say 2 CPUs and say 10 GB RAM. So it will allocate that. It will create a container for you in which you can run the application. Getting? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So it is so flexible. So Harsh, today what happened? You are offline. You didn't come offline. Hmm? Harsh, are you there? Harsh,
Yes.
are you there? I can't hear you. So that's why it's saying, so these are two things, Azure Container Instances and Azure Kubernetes Services. So this AK is very, very popular. So allows orchestration of containers useful in microservice architecture. I have explained you microservice architecture before, right? What is microservice architecture?
So you had explained that everything is, it's into bits and parts, and that's how it functions whenever we are using the environment or applications within the microservice architecture. Everything
Divides
has
into
its
number
own.
of things.
Instead of managing everything as a whole,
Okay.
there are small processes to take care of it. I think we had discussed the airport example also.
Instead of having one big application, divide into small application. That is the thing, right?
Yes, there are
Kev, for
small
Power BI
services. Yeah.
come on offline. Kev,
Yes, sir.
Power BI के लिए आप offline आ जाओ ना.
Sir, actually, one of my relative got expired, so I'm going there. That's why I'm attending online and going there.
अच्छा. So allows orchestration of containers useful in microservice architecture. Orchestration means that same thing which I told you very simple way that it will just allocate the resources on the fly. On the fly, it is going to allocate the resources. Exactly same thing I told you.
Yes, correct.
So this is AKS. So very popular service, and Niaz is using this in his company. Okay. Harsh, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear.
All right. Okay, so we are almost done with this part. See, only now theoretical part is remaining in the subject. And see, what I suggest is you please revise all the things because the cloud account is opened up, right? So you should revise as much as possible. Then we have here Azure Functions and Azure Logic Apps. It will require some explanation, which I will do it next time. So it won't take much of the time. I'll finish this presentation next time.
Manoj,
Okay.
I had a question about that Kubernetes slide which we saw just now.
Yeah.
So I saw the point where it talks about Docker. So I've seen in the on-premise servers that there is something called as, that command which we run Docker space PS. And one of my colleagues had told me that it is supposed to have 16 containers. So is that the same Docker that they're referring to in this particular document also?
Come again. What are you saying? Come again. Yeah.
So I was actually speaking to one of my colleagues from the server team in the office. So we were looking at an on-premise server, and
Mhm.
he was teaching me that Docker space PS, that command which we run inside command prompt, Docker space PS. So that
Mhm.
shows you all the 16 containers. So
Mhm.
I mean, is this somewhat the same type of container
Yeah,
which we
same,
see
same.
in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right, right.
So
The
the only thing is, I
containerized
think,
applications are used nowadays, no?
uh, sorry, Manoj, I couldn't hear the last thing you said. Sorry.
Nowadays, we are using containerized applications only. Hmm?
Okay. So I think the only difference is there the container is on the on-premise environment, and here we're talking about containers in the Azure cloud environment.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They have created the system on premise, perhaps.
On-premise, yeah.
Another thing. Yeah, got it, gentlemen.
Yes, Manoj. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for connecting today. I'll see you next class.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll meet on Friday, right? We'll be connecting on Friday, right? Okay, Manoj. See you on Friday. Then. Thank you.
कहाँ से बात कर